From folklore and fairies
to monsters and mysteries,
it came from the Maritimes.
Howdy everyone, and welcome to It Came From The Maritimes. I'm Evan, and this is my co-host Chelsea.
Hi there.
Today's topic is the harbor-dwelling horrors known as the Halifax Harbour sea monsters. As a warning, this episode discusses death of animals. So Chelsea, have you heard or seen any sea monsters in the Halifax Harbour?
I honestly never have, so I'm super excited for this episode.
Yeah, and I'll say some of these sound a bit more reputable, and some of them, I think they're not necessarily as much, but we'll talk about that as we go.
Part of the beauty of folklore.
Exactly. Over the years, there have been many reports of potential sea monsters in the Halifax Harbour, some more reliable than others. The first account was in 1752, where people claimed to have found a giant sea turtle-like creature with a bite out of it dead in the water. The descriptions, like most sea monsters, are a bit all over the place, but the main points are that it was like a giant sea turtle, but with that, they don't actually ever mention a shell on it, so I'm not sure what makes it exactly turtle-like. It was said to be covered in short brown hair like hog bristle, with skin that was loose and over an inch thick. It had a short, thick neck like a bull, a head that was like an alligator, with two fanged teeth that were 10 inches long, and it had short, thick legs that ended in fins with claws.
That sounds wild.
Yeah. And there was a bite that exposed the organs inside, and they described the organs as being like those of an ox.
That's very specific.
I know. So there was a fisherman who found it and presented it in Halifax, charging people to see it. And he did that until the smell got too bad, and then eventually he just threw it back in the ocean to let decompose.
And we wonder why the harbor is disgusting.
Exactly. From all the descriptions, it sounds like it could be quite the beast, but when you think about it, I think it was probably actually just a walrus.
I could see that.
Just with the fangs, the thick skin, the flippers, and also the fact that it's turtley but no shell. But the alligator head thing is a little bit weird. That being said, I think in the 1700s, maybe people weren't necessarily seeing as many animals as we can easily see online right now.
Yeah, they might not have a great grasp of what an alligator looked like.
That's what I'm thinking. So our next one, in 1825, was a sea serpent sighted in the harbor. At least 3 different groups of people described it as being a large serpentine creature that was seen in the water by what is now the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic. It is said that its head was 3 feet out of the water, body that was thick around like a tree, and it was thought to be about 60 feet long. It was also said to have bumped into a nearby boat 3 times before disappearing under the water. That one didn't find many explanations for, so hard to say for sure. In 1833, a group near St. Margaret's Bay reported seeing a sea serpent that was 80 feet long, and they only noticed it because of a pod of dolphins that was fleeing from it. But they didn't get closer, and there's not really any other details on that one. So, some of these ones is just so vague where it's like, I don't know, this could be something, but like...
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
Yeah, exactly. This next one is probably the one where I'm like, I don't even know what's going on here. But in 1853, a schooner captain near McNabb's Island saw a creature circle his boat one night when he was out doing watch. And he said it was blowing like a whale, like out a blowhole, presumably. I'm thinking that might have just been a whale or a dolphin or something going around his boat, but...
Very possible.
Maybe I'm a skeptic. And the next morning, a man named Peter McNabb saw a large eel-like creature in the water. These, for some reason, have been grouped together. I think it's just because they were so close together, but the descriptions don't seem to be the same at all. One of them is just like, oh, it blew out the top like a whale. The other one's a eel-like creature. And that could be something big like a conger eel or an oarfish.
Yeah.
These claims were overall unsubstantiated, and Peter McNabb was 20 years later admitted into the Mount Hope Asylum, and people have largely dismissed his claims because of that, which is kind of sad because that's a pretty big difference.
It is.
It's kind of there's so little details that it's hard to say either way. But yeah, what do you think of our monster so far?
I'm always willing to believe in things, but those last few, they're definitely a little more on the vague side.
I know, I'm a little underwhelmed.
A little, just a smidge.
Mm-hmm. In the summer of 1934, there were multiple witnesses for what people report was a 70-foot-long creature with a head the size of the front of a car near Fairview. It was said to have had 2 spikes that raised 3 feet out of the water on its back, and they were said to be about the size of a stovepipe around. And it was swimming so quickly that it left a streak of foam behind it. Some people have reported that it had large teeth, but that seems like it was more of a later addition to the story. No one knows for sure what it was. I think, with some of the descriptions there, I wonder if it could have been submarines.
I wonder too, because just like the spikes that raise out of the back and just how long it was.
Exactly.
And it would have been that time
Yeah, kind of like
leading up to World War II.
Yeah, but the other thing is there were several 1,000-pound tuna that were found by fishermen in the area around the same time.
That is massive.
Oh, yeah.
Like just normal fish are scary. Forget about sea monsters.
Exactly. And then also the area has been known to have sunfish, which are also massive and have like big fins on their back.
Yeah.
And also basking sharks. And if you look up basking sharks, they kind of have a pretty wide front of them, which could have been kind of size of the front of a car, you know?
Those are wild looking. Yeah. Their mouths like...
Yeah, they're something to look at. So those are kind of the explanations we've seen. I will also say that in 2006, there was an incident where people thought there was either sharks or some sort of monster in the harbor, but it turned out that they were just seeing the fin of a sunfish swimming around. And it's just really big. But they were like, oh no, sharks are going to get us. And it's...
What are you doing swimming in the harbor anyway?
Well, and that's the thing. It's kind of like, I don't think you really need to be swimming there either way. My final story is from 2003, when the fisherman saw what he thought initially was a log, but on closer inspection saw a creature that he said had a head like a sea turtle and a brown, 25-foot-long snake-like body. And it was said to be as big around as a 5-gallon bucket. They followed it for 45 minutes before it went down and under, and some people believe that this could be a sea serpent. Others have just said it's probably something like an oarfish.
Which is scary enough.
And that's the thing. I think that sometimes we're looking so much for these sea monsters. What's in the ocean is scary enough. We don't need to make something new. People out there, listen to me now. The ocean is scary enough. Stop making it scarier.
Exactly.
Anyways, sorry for getting so aggressive at the end of the episode here, and thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us on this episode of It Came From The Maritimes. This is my happy voice. You can find us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at It Came From The Maritimes, on X and Blue Sky at ICFT Maritimes. And if you have any Atlantic Canada folklore you would like to see covered in a future episode, or any spooky encounters of your own, please email us at itcamefromthemaritimes@gmail.com. We also have a Patreon if you want to see a little bit of bonus things from us and support us as well. And if you enjoy our podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. It helps people find us. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.